Greetings. I hope you guys are doing well, and I would like to talk to you guys about fake news. To start our discussion, we really need to talk about fake news and what that means. And fake news is a term we hear all the time, become part of American vernacular, fake news. But on one hand, it seems like fake news is news that's not true, right? That has to be what fake news means, but it gets a little bit deeper. So, for example, if a news station reported a shooting and things like this have happened, and at first they say the suspect was elderly, and then they realize 2 hours later that the person wasn't elderly, and then they come back and say, you know what, we messed up, the person wasn't elderly, would that be fake news? So it's a bit tricky. Now, some people would say if it was false, then it's fake news. And some people would say, well, they made a mistake and they admitted it, so that wouldn't be fake news. And fake news, really, if you look at the idea of it, is intentionally used to mislead people. It has to be the intention behind it. This is a horrible metaphor, but it's a football metaphor. It's like a fake punt, where you're trying to deceive the other team. Or it's like the Peanuts cartoon of Lucy holding that football, and she fakes Charlie Brown out every time. She's doing that on purpose. It's not an accident. She's doing that intentionally to fake him out. He falls on the ground. So fake news must be intentional. So if a news station reported something and they were wrong and they later admitted it, then that wouldn't necessarily quantify as fake news. It would be false news, but it wouldn't be fake news. So that leads into a whole new direction. What is fake news? So it must be intentional. And that's why satire, websites like The Onion aren't technically fake news. And the reason why is because they're pretty open that they're joking. And if they weren't open at all, and they were intentionally trying to mislead people, then that would be fake news. But it's not. It's just meant to be funny. It's not meant to be taken seriously. News that is meant to be taken seriously, that is falsified with the idea of deceiving people, that would be fake news. And so I think it's really important to start with that conversation and talk about what is fake news, because it's confusing for people. And there's different elements of fake news. There's a lot of far right and far left publications, websites that publish fake news every day with the intention to mislead or the intention to sway elections. And we're going to watch some videos about that. Or I think conspiracy theories also fall into the realm of fake news. So, for example, chemtrails, the idea that the government is trying to kill us, that would be fake news in my opinion. People believe it, but some people, they're trying to mislead people without information. The intention is to mislead. Another one would be, a popular one right now is the coronavirus and how it started in a lab. Now there is evidence for that, but there's not that much evidence to really say that China did this intentionally. So there's not a lot of truth and element there. And right now they're trying to push this agenda to make us think that it's true, but they don't really have the information. They're faking us out with false information. Chemtrails, 9/11 was an inside job. Tupac is alive in the Philippines. Elvis is still alive. There's loads of fake news in our media. People are still believing in flat earth. I've had students who've had boyfriends and girlfriends who are adamant that the earth is flat, and that is fake news. There's a lot of evidence to show that the world is round. So I think conspiracy theories, many of them can fall into fake news. However, some get a little bit gray. So, for example, what about UFOs? Are UFOs fake news? Right? It's hard to say. And we're going to watch a video that really gets into that next week. Are ghosts fake news, right? We don't know. So some of those are harder to prove. Is Bigfoot fake news? So you have urban legends, you have conspiracy theories. But remember this, the whole aura of fake news and what quantifies fake news is it has to be intentionally used to mislead people. Does that make sense? So I want to start with this by defining this term fake news.